back, OIG family, to another exciting episode in our AMA series. Today, we had the privilege of speaking with Matthias, who is the founder and CEO of CORITE. CORITE aims to revolutionize the music industry by integrating blockchain elements such as fan-based marketing, fan-based funding, a robust native token, and unique NFT elements. Remember, if you like the content, subscribe, hit the bell notification button, and hit the like button to stay up to date with all the stuff coming out from OIG. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the AMA. Matthias, could you tell us a little bit about how you got started with CORITE?
Yes, that's a good question. I can talk for hours, but I try to keep myself brief. But yeah, the long background is I'm a music guy from the get-go. I started off as a musician a pretty long time ago. You can see on my hair color that I'm not in the 20s anymore. But I was playing a lot during the 90s, made some records, but I was like in the kind of, in the independent field, never got rich on my music, but I loved it. But then I ended up as a management consultant for several years. And all of a sudden I got my dream job, which was at the biggest label on the planet, Universal Music. So I was heading up the commercial businesses for Universal Music in Scandinavia in a very, very exciting time in the industry, because it was when Spotify was launching and the whole revolution of streaming was happening. So I was in the middle of everything, changing the model of how Universal Music worked in Sweden, from being like this CD sales organization to becoming this streaming marketing organization that it's basically the labels are today. So with that revolution, I gained a lot of insights. And then after Universal, I also spent a couple of other years at the big media house, working primarily with esports, investing a lot in production companies and stuff like that. And I realized that the gaming industry, they were so much better in making business model that sort of combined the power of the artists, in that case, gamers or hosts, but with the fans. So like services like Twitch and emerged, and all of a sudden there was like a fan economy built, which never had happened actually in the music industry, except in spite the fact that the music industry has always been about fan relations. Like you should have your fan base, and it's always the fans that drives your success, etc. So that is like the thinking about behind CORITE. I would say we saw the trend that with the streaming came like huge amount of music, that every day today 70,000 songs are released on Spotify and other services, which is crazy. It's really cool, but also a hassle. If you're an artist, it's a tough competition to sort of cut through the noise out of 70,000 songs. And we thought that the old model where we came from, like the record label deal, where you sign to a label and you get a piece of the royalty, but the label takes the most of it, and then the label gives you some money for production and they give you some marketing support. We thought that that is a too old model. So that's basically the reasoning behind CORITE, is to find a power that is big enough to support a much bigger number of professional artists, which is the independent artist community out there. And the only power we thought was big enough was the power of the fans. So that's the mantra that drives us and is behind CORITE. We're trying to build a platform that unleashes the fan power. So the artists can get help from their fans to get funded, but also to get promoted and to grow together. And that's what makes CORITE unique, I would say. It's the fan power element.
For sure. And you mentioned, the revolution of the streaming music service. And I think that has played a huge role in how we actually view the actual art and how we view music in general, or listen to music in general. And that number is staggering. You said 60 or 70,000 new songs on Spotify daily.
Yeah.
And so that obviously shows the market is huge, right? And that there's a lot of potential here. So let's jump straight into it. Could you tell us how can the average user make money, let's say, or become profitable at CORITE? You mentioned obviously the fan base is a huge integral part of this aspect, but let's dive into a little more detail there.
Yeah, sure. So the two target groups of CORITE is obviously the artists and the fans. Mm-hmm. And what we want to do, we want to help the artists turn their fans into backers. And that is what also could make some money for the fans. So the project that we have launched today, which is a platform that's on BNB chain, we just launched our beta version of the blockchain product just a couple of weeks ago, and we had our first big campaign with Alan Walker this weekend. But the way what we make it possible today is basically the artist put up a campaign, and the artist then sets a target how much money they want to raise, and then they also set a percentage how much they're prepared to share with the backers. So here comes the sort of twofold learning, and then the backers they invest in the project, not only with money, they will also invest with their activities. So they will do missions and they will help the artist by sharing the music and all these things. And for that investment, they get a piece of the royalty when the song is streamed on Spotify and Apple Music and all these stuff. And CORITE, we make sure that this is possible. So we handle the whole sort of fundraise process, but then we also help the artist to distribute the song to Spotify and the other. And we bring back the money and we give it back to the backers. So the backers can make money when they pick songs that they like, that then potentially becomes hits. And the artist could make money. They could raise money to fund their project, but of course they also will make money when the song is streamed on Spotify and the others. So that's the baseline model and what we have today. Tomorrow and into the future, we're working now to sort of launch a very unique, we call it like listen and earn model, which is a more gamified model where we play with more elements. So for instance, these missions, when let's say the artists tell the fans, now it's time to share the song even further, then they can put up a list of missions that the fans need to perform. And for that performance, they will earn fan power points on our platform. And then with the fan power points, they will get different kinds of rewards, and eventually also a share of the token, which our code token that we're about to launch shortly. So we have two elements. One is like investing in the song shares, and the other is like listen and earn model.
Yeah, really cool. I mean, to have a fan base that's actually pretty much your investor base as well, by turning your fans into backers. That's very interesting. And the activities you mentioned really it solves this social aspect of promoting and getting the word out there, and it also engages the community to do the same. It's a win-win for everybody involved, right? So very, very cool stuff.
Thanks.
So on the topic of marketing as well, what about it and your partners? How do they kind of involve themselves in that aspect?
Yeah, so it's marketing, as you know, in the crypto space is an essential part of success, and you need to have a lot of partners within the crypto community, which we have right now. So we managed to raise some funds during the last 6 months. So we have a lot of investors, we have a lot of key opinion leaders connected to the project within the crypto field. But also in our case, it's so important to connect to the music community, because that's where the artists are, and we need to sort of bring them on board. So with that, we come from the music industry, so we have a good network on our own, like in the Scandinavian territory. We also hooked up with a great American company called Hitco, which is run by L.A. Reid, who is like a legend in the American music industry, and also Charles Goldstack. And these two fellas started RCA Records in the 90s, and they have been signing pretty much all big household names on the US market over the years. So these are important partnerships for us as well. But then also, of course, the artists. We have already in our Fiat pilot released around 200 different campaigns with different artists in different sizes. But most recently, we did a first out of many campaigns with a huge DJ, Alan Walker, which is a super cool concept. We just finished we launched it in this Friday, but it's already fully funded, and we got ourselves more than 3,000 backers to that particular campaign only. So that's a really proof point that also not only the small independent up and coming artists can use our platform, but also very established huge artists with a huge community. So that's the trick. I think that's what in the marketing going forward, we will basically use these hero projects with huge artists to show example. This is what could be done. And then we hope that will bring more of the sort of mid-sized independent professionals to join the platform. But simultaneously also the bigger artists like Alan, he drives a lot of traffic and drives a lot of backers. So that's how we get more users in general to the system. So I think it's a combination of traditional music marketing and crypto marketing. That's what we're trying to accomplish.
Of course, and ultimately, for mass adoption to become reality with regards to the music industry and blockchain industry, we will need the kings and queens of the music industry to start venturing into into this side of the industry,
Yeah.
and that's a very good point you make there. Let's go into a little more detail about the key features that CORITE brings to the industry. And how does that differentiate you from the competition? And also on top of that, who is your competition really?
Well, I would say there's a lot of music projects out there in the crypto space. I would consider them all as partners and potential partners, or like collaborators rather than competitors at this stage, because the Web3 music industry is so small as we speak, and it will be growing much more. And I think there's a lot of ideas that need to sort of melt together to sort of create a perfect ecosystem. So our main competitor, I would say, is not a company. It's the old school way of doing record deals. So it's the model we're competing against. That's what we want to disrupt. So historically, for you guys who don't know the music industry, an artist signs a record deal with a record company, which basically gives away either forever or for a very long period of time all the rights to the recording that they do. And then the record label gives back a tiny piece of royalty to the artist. And they normally, the label is not bad guys. They just do this because it's a good business model for them, particularly in the history. So what they do, they invest in the artist, both with money and marketing support. So, and they try to break the artist through the noise. So what we're trying to solve is basically these problems. We're trying to give the artists the funds they need to sort of get their project going, but also the marketing and promotion support they need to cut through the noise. But instead of being like a traditional label, we use the power of the fans. So we use them for both purposes, basically bringing in the money and getting the sort of buzz out there. So that is what makes CORITE different, I would say. And that's what we believe could make us compete with these traditional models, because we will not only offer the artists better terms, we will also offer the backers an opportunity to actually participate, which they don't have in the traditional space. And we believe that strength is the thing that will make us successful and get more and more of these artists to sort of join our model rather than the old school one.
And on the topic of the traditional record label business model, like you said, it's not that they're bad. It's just it's very lucrative and it's in their best interest to structure their contracts this way, and it just hasn't changed. And just like other parts that the blockchain industry is touching, it's pretty much revolutionizing and evolving key aspects to bring traditional industries into the future. And on that topic, how is CORITE changing its business model to match that energy? Because you went into it with regards to the backers and the fans, but also within CORITE, how's that going to make a difference for your business model?
Yeah, but I think it's in the history, the record labels, they had basically monopoly on all aspects of the value chain, from like production to distribution to marketing and funding. And that was over these revolution over the 20 years. First came production, so everybody can do a song on their laptop right now. You don't have to hire a studio with label money. And then comes distribution. Spotify and the others just take away the hassle of making CDs and put them into stores. And then what's left for the record label is basically funding and marketing support. And they do that, and they're doing it pretty good. But as you know, marketing changed a lot the last 10 years. So now it's social media. You need to build your own audiences. You need to have your own communities. And the artists that are most likely to break today is the guys that already made themselves famous on platforms like TikTok and others. And that's the artist the labels are signing right now. You already have to sort of on your own take yourself to that kind of level. And what we think is that then you basically don't need the label anymore, because you already did the work. And then why not use your community instead to solve your problems? So I think it's kind of natural for us to sort of, and by doing so, we don't need that kind of percentages that the record label normally took, because they did a lot of work 20 years ago. Nowadays, they don't do that much work, but they still have the kind of same deal structure. So I think we will compete by just offering the artist better margins and offering both the artists the better margins, but also the fans to participate. That's the key components that makes us different. And then looking at the other players out there in the blockchain space, I think most of them are focusing right now on creating new revenue streams on top of the streaming, which is about selling NFTs and other types of stuff. I truly believe that's a very good idea as well. So this is on top of this, this is what CORITE will be doing as well, like launching products which is not only about streaming revenues, but actually add value to the backers and the artist, of course, over time, which could be different types of NFTs in the shape of, digital merchandise, special community features, or whatever you can come up with. And that's also where we want to play with this listen to earn model, because that will be an entirely NFT based project, more gamified, which makes it our platform in the future will be like a combination of reality, which is the streaming and the actual music, but also a playfulness where people can play with the music and they can use it in different ways, and maybe bring it with these NFTs into other places. Like we're doing a partnership we announced yesterday with a new metaverse called Altiverse, and they have this idea of avatars running around in their metaverse, and they need attributes. So one of them being, in the first NFT launch they added, like in 300 NFTs, they will have like a boombox, this old school tape recorder.
Oh yeah.
And what we do in the first place, we just fill that boombox with some music. So you can take music from the CORITE platform, bring it into the next metaverse, and the artist, instead of going to a radio station, they will have listeners in that meta space, which is pretty cool. And I think a bit more sophisticated version of that would be, think about it like a tape. Maybe you do a tape in CORITE where you can stake all your song shares, and then all of a sudden you have a mixtape with all your music that you have shared interest with, and then you can bring that tape into whatever kind of metaverse, and you can play it and maybe get it into some club somewhere, and which is like taking the old school kind of features of the music industry into the new Web3 world. Because I think it's the same thing as doing like that STEPN is doing with the sneakers, right? Of course, you want to buy cool sneakers in the physical space, but now you can actually run and make money on STEPN, and you want to have sneakers in that environment as well. So I think there's a lot of similarities that we're trying to look both within the music space, but also in the gaming space and whatever happens in the blockchain space, to sort of create these kind of mixed models going forward.
For sure. And mentioning the comparison of tapes, which I wonder how much of our users will actually remember a cassette tape, which is just a funny thing. But the fact that you can validate it on the blockchain, and then you can have this added security and confirmation of that artist's work being played at that specific time really creates a world of possibilities. And then involving the creation and the NFTs, like you mentioned, that's going to totally revolutionize how we look at music and how we purchase and exchange and do all those sorts of things. So very cool that you have a vision that involves that, and that you're welcoming to that feature, and really cool to see, and can't wait to see what you're going to do with that.
No, I think we will pretty soon. We will announce a couple of cool features in that sort of field, but it's all about what we're trying to do is basically engage that audience out there to of course, from an artist perspective, buy more stuff from the artist, because it's about creating more revenues to the artist community. But we need to do that with products that somebody wants to have. Yeah. So it could be cool NFTs, but also we believe this activation, the fandom aspect of music has always been, it's fun to be part of a club that sort of tried to build an artist career. Yeah. And if you could make some money during the way doing so, that never happened before, because in the history, you were always just following, and you bought merchandise and you bought special boxes signed by the artist. All these things could you make parallels into a Web3 environment. But in that space, if you bought the right box at the right time, maybe that box will be worth something in the end as well, which is actually the case in the physical world as well. If you had if you're really older than me, you would have been able to buy like a limited edition of the Beatles' White Album, yeah, signed by Paul McCartney in mint condition, 100 pieces. That piece will be worth a fortune today. Yeah. So it's not an NFT, but it's a physical element. And if that was done in an NFT today, let's imagine that you bought your first song share from Ed Sheeran when he was like a street musician, and you had 1 out of 100 NFTs based on that first performance in the street corner. At that point, it wasn't worth anything. It was probably you just giving him some money because you felt sorry for the guy sitting in the corner. And you thought it was good. And then all of a sudden, 10 years later, you're 1 out of 100 people owning the first piece of Ed Sheeran. These things will happen, yeah, because I think a lot of young artists on our platform and other platforms will create these kind of things at a very early stage. And then all of a sudden, some of them will be huge, and you never know who. So that these are the sort of, I love that kind of world, if you look on like 10 years from now, where everything is in the metaverses and the games, and like people really buy stuff to wear there, to listen to there. And music, I would say it needs to become like an very important part in that environment, because it's like the background sound and your sort of a soundtrack for everything. It describes who you are as a person. You can brag about it, and you can basically use it for a different sort of personality, just like a profile picture of today. I think music will be that kind of ingredients in this space going forward.
Amazing, amazing. Can't wait to see it. So let's switch gears here and move over to our Twitter questions. These are questions that were asked to our community a week ago, and we've collected some of the answers from our Twitter post, and we're going to ask these questions now. So we come here to question number 1, and this person asks, one of the determining factors in the success of a project is the existence of a robust native token. What utility will CORITE's native token bring to its users?
That was a precise and great question, I think. I would say our code token, together with the fan PowerPoint, is the core of the entire system ecosystem that we want to build. The first very natural utility that will come with the token when we get it listed is the possibility to stake it to get early access to all artist campaigns on the platform. The same kind of way that, a typical feature that American Express credit card uses for live concerts. So if you have a great campaign, people will get to it. If you have the code token, you always are secured like fast access and first access for it. Then the code token will be a very integrated part in the listen to earn model going forward. It will be needed to sort of upgrade and mint NFTs in different kinds of forms. It will be needed to get certain VIP accesses to content and stuff. And most importantly, we will reward the most active fans and artists on the platform in a pro rata based model with the code token. But the code token will also need a fan PowerPoint system, which is the sort of the gaming point system that we will use to measure all activity on the platform. As I mentioned before, we will use a lot of missions and stuff like that to make sure that the fans are engaged. It could be simple stuff like following artists on Spotify or other services. It could be listening to music on our platform or attending events on our platform. It could be sharing music on the fans' social media. It could be creating or sharing playlists on streaming services. It could be purchasing NFTs, reviewing songs, or as in Alan Walker's case, the Unity campaign we did, that could have been a great example, because in that case, the fans was actually part of the music creation. So they did the whole song together with the artist. All these activities will generate fan power, which will be handed out by the platform. And the people and the fans that gains the most fan power will be into these kind of drops of code token, where we always will try to sort of incentivize the best backers to perform even better and play with us basically in this model to both grow the artist careers, but also make sure that the music streams a lot and build a platform together. And finally, building platform together, it's what we think is the cool thing with the whole blockchain idea. And I believe that the music business is the true creators business, where you have the creators in the forms of artists and the ones that loves the music, which is the fans. And we want to build a platform that is where all these guys are part of the governance and have voting power. So of course you will need code tokens to get into that game and actually build a platform together with us. But these are the fundamentals, I would say. And of course we will add utility as we go along, and the more featured the platform will hold.
And truly a remarkable amount of utility within that token, as you mentioned. It really is the basis of which users will use to interact with the platform. So very cool stuff. So Twitter question number 2, and this person asks, I saw that CORITE offers the users to create their own NFTs. Is it necessary to have any kind of deep or technical knowledge to create and design NFTs in your platform, or can any average user do it easily?
Very good question as well. I think just to sort of, before I get to it, I think it touches upon one of the most important aspects of the whole platform, because we're in the music space and not that many musicians nowadays knows that much about crypto, which has been a lot of other questions around as well. And I think so every kind of feature we build, we always need to consider the fact that not that many people on our platform actually comes from the crypto space. we need to sort of bring them on board and sort of, yeah, embrace them into the crypto family, so to speak. But in regards to the things you can create on our platform today, actually the only thing you can create is a campaign with song shares in the respect of blockchain, and that is super simple. Everyone can do that. Of course, you need to have a song, and you need to have a title, and you need to have some pictures and some ideas on what you want to use the money for. But if you have that, it's super simple to set up a campaign and get it going. And then the backers can get their song shares onto chain. And we believe when we launch these features around the listen to earn, it will be the same kind of idea when you create NFTs on the platform. But of course, we will also, in some cases, when we work with bigger artists, we will also help artists create more complex systems. Like if you want to have like, yeah, great utilities and different kind of mechanics that's sort of super bespoke for each NFT, that's something that we will help. But on general basis, we believe that you should be able to create, as easy it is today to distribute a song, that easy it needs to be to create an NFT over the time.
For sure. And you know, obviously having the platform provide help to those users will definitely streamline that process for them. So very cool stuff. And Matthias, did you have a couple questions that you selected from Twitter as well?
Yeah, I think so. I thought it was a lot of brilliant questions actually. So let me bring up some of them. Yeah, I'm so proud of this. I need to, and when somebody asked about it, I need to talk about it. So it was like, it was from CORITE AMA. And the question is like, I'm very, very excited to hear about the Alan Walker fan campaign on CORITE. What is this? Could you please tell me some more? And unfortunately, I would say when this is recorded, the Alan Walker campaign, the first Alan Walker campaign, is already fully funded. It went pretty fast. So we got ourselves around 3,000 backers in a very short amount of time that supported this campaign. And of course, that's because Alan Walker is a huge artist and with a huge community, and it attracted a lot of attention. But you don't have to be sorry. You can come back because we will do more stuff with Alan in the near future. So just sort of follow us on social and all the announcement channels, and we'll tell you all about it. But in this campaign, it was a pretty straightforward CORITE campaign where the artist set up this campaign. But in this case, it was all about generosity from Alan. As you know, Alan probably don't need that much money. Instead, he wanted to give back to his community. So what it did was, as you could only invest like $1 up to $10 to participate in this song Unity. That is a song that Alan created together with his walkers, as he called his backers. So now not only a couple of hundred walkers has been part of the creation of the song, also now we have a couple of thousand people that is part of the financing and the marketing sort of army to get this song onto the streaming platform. So this is the first time Unity will be released commercially, and that will happen the June 3rd. So that's when the song is launched. But stay there. We will get back to you with more Alan Walker campaigns shortly.
Wow.
So that was one. I think I have some other as well.
And while you look for that second question, I mean, Alan Walker, like just to touch briefly on that, he is a huge artist. So to have him, it will be an integral part to, growing your CORITE's fan base as well, and providing visibility on the platform as well. So very good to see that we have big names that are already participating with CORITE.
Yeah, that you're true. So I think that's the way for us to both attract a lot of new backers to the platform, of course, but also show example. Because if an artist like Alan, with his background and his success, are willing to use our service to engage his audience, I hope and I truly believe that a lot of other artists will follow his lead, basically. So these are the type of campaigns. You will not see them every day on CORITE, but we will do these kind of hero projects to show and sort of tell a bit more about the future and what we can help with. So I think you're 100% right. It's super important, and yeah, I'm very proud of that one.
I'm sure.
So talking to that point, there's a question here from Vinit Sharma. And the question is, I read that CORITE aimed to become a music platform for a large global audience with millions of artists and fans. However, vast majority of artists and music lovers don't really understand blockchain may I know how you intend to bridge that gap for such people or users? And I think that's the key questions. I recently read that 5% of the total population have a crypto wallet, which in one end is pretty impressive. But with that number, if you look at the traditional like product development curve, it will take probably in this fast space is in 1 year or so, it's probably 10%. And then after that, it will be mass market. So I think we have the time will work in our favor, but still being pretty early stage, we need to make sure that we bring on these people from the fiat world into the crypto space. And our strategy is to offer both solutions right now. So you can go into CORITE and you can invest with normal dollars using PayPal or any credit card or whatever. And we believe it's important because then you bring them into the sort of core functionality. And then when we launch features that really need blockchain technology on top of that, then it becomes obvious even for these guys to sort of create their first wallet and just join the ride. And we also will try to make it as simple as possible. So for instance, we're integrating like custodial wallets and all these kind of features that will make it total hassle-free to join the ride and get going. And basically, I believe we need to show for these people that's not into crypto yet, we need to show why they should. Because they haven't joined so far, but with new features and new opportunities, they will. And we're betting on a long term here. So it's not important for us, basically, what happens. Of course, it's important what happens in the short term, but this idea is a long term vision. And I believe these kind of feature will be the features, products and platforms that run this music business within like 5 to 10 years. So it's a long kind of process, but I think from our end, we're really keen on bringing a lot of more people on board to this blockchain train.
For sure. And you know, as you mentioned, it's a long-term play. You know, it's going to take a lot of time, especially to really, what we're doing is we're disrupting the status quo. And, you know, for many years that nobody has attempted, many have attempted to disrupt the status quo and many have failed. And now we've come to a point where it's truly happening, and we have a real good shot of, you know, revolutionizing the space and evolving into the future of music and artist recognition. So very, very cool stuff. Did you have another question there from Twitter, or would that?
Yeah, I think these AMA sessions are supposed to be like sales presentations from projects, but I really want to touch upon a bit of a tougher question that I got. It's from Wintercom, and the question is like, I understand that once an artist runs a campaign and raises the funds, a song by the artist will be released and the sponsor will make a profit.
Yeah.
But if the song doesn't get enough attention and doesn't generate revenue, does that mean that the sponsor will not make any profit? I was like, yes, that is the brutal truth. Of course, I wouldn't say that CORITE. The rule of thumb in the record industry is basically 1 out of 10 songs or even 20 songs will make it, and that needs to cover for the rest. So it's a kind of tough business. Music is high risk. It's like crypto investments. Like sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. What we believe with our platform is that CORITE is not the platform where you should put your money to sort of invest for your next swimming pool. This is a platform where you should put your money to play with them for the fun of it. And sometimes, if, as you said, take the Ed Sheeran example, if you find that guy and you have the ear to listen to that song, this is really great, it has potential, and it actually cuts through the noise and make a fortune, of course you will make money on that. But it will be cases where you pick a song that you like and for some reason it doesn't make it to the top. And then you will always get some money back, because for every stream that streams on Spotify, there will be some sort of fraction of a dollar coming back, but maybe you will not make a fortune, or maybe you even not will make payback. But what we have learned during our pilot period is that fans normally don't mind that. They're looking partners, and they, even though they don't make all the money back, they take the money they got and they put it into another one, because they like the fact that they're part of the project and they're part of the industry. And so that's it's a kind of tough question, but you shouldn't believe that music is like everything else. Some win, some lose. That is the case. But we believe if we make it fun enough, it should be worth these, like, if you put in like $30 to be part of the project, potentially you can you can gain 5 times the money, but also you would be prepared to lose it, but you should have been having a fun ride over the way and played with it. So that is the brutal truth answer on that question.
Yeah, and having that brutal truth is necessary to understand the playing field that users and as well as artists will be on. And it's not to say that it's a bad thing. I mean, like you said, because it has a gamified aspect to it, the point is to make it so that you want to keep jumping in and to continue and to become consistent with your attempts, for example, at creating good music from the artist's perspective, as well as it's in the best interest of the fans to provide that support and jump in on those up and coming artists, because you just don't know which one out of that 1 out of 20 will be a hit, right? So it's I think it provides a lot of utility for all parties involved, and that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So, Matthias, as we wrap up here, could you tell us a little more about your roadmap and your achievements to date? What are you most proud of? And then also looking to the future, what are you most excited about?
Yeah, that's good questions. Yeah, what I'm most proud of so far, I think I'm proud of the team that we managed to both build this platform to what it is today. We have managed to release over 250 campaigns with artists already, and basically all sizes from Alan Walker down to the smallest up and coming. I think we have pretty much concluded that this fan funding model works. So we are able to raise money for every artist that has great music. So every artist out there, please join the platform, because this is a great opportunity. I'm super proud about that. And I'm also proud that we managed to, during the last year, to get this blockchain project up and running. So just 3 weeks ago, we launched our first beta version onto blockchain, meaning that these song shares now ends up on chain, so it will be there forever and ever. And it's also possible from a couple of weeks ago to invest with cryptocurrency. And this is the first step of our journey into this space of the blockchain. And of course, once again, I'm super proud of this collaboration with Alan Walker. And I think that definitely will lead to both more projects together with him, but also to other bigger projects for us going forward. What I'm looking forward to is it's a bunch of things. I would say, mostly to help more artists and backers to sort of get along with each other and engage in different campaigns. But we have a token listing, hopefully in the very near future, but the market situation right now is pretty tough. So we want to sort of make sure that we don't do any stupid things here, but that is important for us, because with the listing, the opportunity comes with the code token and what we talked about earlier, and all these gamified features that we're currently working on. So these are things that over this year and the next 12 months, we will just add on features to this play, listen to earn model that we're engaged in. And and we will do a bunch of other cool projects in the near future as well. We have a very interesting AI-driven NFT projects around music festivals, which will be launched in the Scandinavian very, very soon with a big partner. And we have some other artist projects as well. And also we will do some initial steps towards this gamification model in the near future as well. So as you all know, who's been involved in crypto, things are moving very fast. So you need to sort of stay sharp and have the head on the road and run fast. So, but that will happen. So we have a lot of cool things coming in the near future.
For sure. And like you said, things move fast. So, for all our viewers today, where can they find out more about CORITE?
Yeah, I think they should start with just sort of corite.com, which is our service. And now when we're live with the crypto beta, you can sign up with your MetaMask wallet as well, and then you can get started and try your first fan investment and fan backing. I think that's the best way forward. And doing so, you will be part of the community and you will get all the information needed to move on further. Of course, you should follow us on Twitter, you should follow us on Telegram. And we're doing all these announcements all the time, and these kind of sessions happens frequently as well. So we're trying to sort of spread the brand, grow the community. But it's easiest, it's just sign up and join the ride.
Awesome. And to all our viewers today, all the official links to CORITE as well as OIG will be in the links in the description below. So be sure to check them out, and be sure to participate with CORITE in the new age of streaming and supporting your artists within the music industry. I'm very happy to have you today, Matthias, and it was a pleasure speaking to you about CORITE. We can't wait to see what you guys do, and we hope to have you on again.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Romy. It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, OIG family, that wraps up another episode in our exciting AMA series. We hope you liked it. Remember, subscribe, hit the bell notification button, and hit the like button if you want to stay up to date with all the stuff coming from OIG. Until next time, we'll see you soon.